Welcome to Getting Retirement Right, where we strive to simplify your financial life and provide you freedom from taxes, risk, stress, and poor advice. And now, here are your hosts, Darrin McComas and Shon Peil.
We are live.
All right, I love this. So thank you so much for joining us today. Pretty excited about starting this new community and podcast. Our community is going to be called Getting Retirement Right. It's kind of an overarching theme. My name's Shon Peil, father of 5 kids. When I'm not chasing them around and coaching all their sports, we're doing this.
My name's Darrin McComas. I'm an investment advisor with Abraham & Company. I have 6 kids, so...
you win.
I don't know if that's winning, but I would agree. Between not chasing them around, we're doing this full time and love helping people out, getting retirement right.
Well, and for those of you that don't know, Darrin and I are brother-in-laws. So Darrin married my sister. He's part of the family. He's stuck for life and can't go anywhere. We've been doing this wealth management thing for a long time. Abraham & Company's been in business for over 40 years. My uncle started the business, and we're pretty much the succession plan. So just a little bit about the community, right, in our podcast is there's a lot of webinars out there today. There's a lot of information. And instead of you sitting through, which can be a boring 45-minute presentation, we know we've recorded a bunch of them. We want to create this like living, breathing entity. Once, twice a week, we're going to meet. Podcast is going to be out, I think, weekly, maybe multiple times a month, not exactly sure. But we want you just to be able to come, ask questions, really create an environment where people can learn, have non-biased opinions, right? We just want opinions that matter and that really are the truth.
Yeah, and let's face it, people are inundated with information today. You can get on YouTube, you can get on Google, Chat GPI, right? There's so much information, it's hard to sift through what is correct for you in your situation. And that's what this community is all about, helping people sift through all that information and how does it pertain to them so they can be on the right track.
Well, yeah, and we have a process, right? And we have a freedom first retirement process. And so we make no bones about it. We don't hide our feelings. If you're super, super sensitive, this might not be the podcast for you, right? We're just going to give you the truth. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but numbers don't lie. And when it comes to your money and when it comes to retirement, you do have to get this right. You don't get to go back and redo it.
Mm-hmm. When we mean getting retirement right, really it's about creating some freedom, right? Everyone has a different idea of what their retirement looks like, different goals, different visions for what they want to accomplish in retirement. And to us, it's about creating that freedom so you can go do those things. And it all starts with a plan.
It definitely does. And I would say this, right? Your freedom is more under attack today than maybe it ever has been. And it's not a dictator that's going to take away freedom. It's really just a lack of responsibility or an unawareness that's kind of going to leave you in the weeds, so to speak.
Being caught in that reactive mode where you're scrambling to get, something fixed or taken care of when it's probably too late. We're all about being proactive. Hey, let's look the writing on the wall, what's coming down the road. Let's get out ahead of things as much as possible. And that's what this community is for. We're going to help each other out. We're going to bounce the ideas off each other, and you're going to get our perspective on things.
When you and I do webinars, we're like sitting there and we're talking into the screen. We don't get to see anybody. This is going to be an opportunity for people to come. Don't know the name of the platform we're using yet, but you're going to be able to turn on your cameras. We're going to be able to build good relationships. And I love that because you have the same questions other people have. And we kind of create this environment nowadays where people are afraid to ask questions. And financial advisors are so prideful, right? And they kind of talk over the top of people. They don't answer questions. I've always said this, and you know this because we train advisors all over the country. Our business is led by arrogance. You and I checked our ego at the door a long time ago. We just want to humbly serve, and we want people to have the right information.
Yeah, we see it all the time. We hear it all the time. Either A, my advisor won't return my call, or when they talk to me, I have no idea what they're talking about. And, I have a background in education. Mm-hmm. I love breaking things down so people can easily understand.
Very
them.
good at
Very
it, yes.
Visual. I love putting things in pictures and images so we can relate and you can remember the information and understand it and do something with it.
Well, there's no such thing as a bad question or a dumb question. And there's no such thing as don't worry about that. Like, that's the one thing I think that makes our firm unique and different is our personal relationships with our clients. If you have a concern, most likely 10 other people in the room have the same concern. People sometimes just don't know how to form that question, and that's okay. I always say this, we laugh, right? Because if we're doing this live in front of an audience, we'll pick people out and say, hey, what do you do for work? And guy will say, I'm an engineer. Or she'll say, I'm a nurse or a teacher. And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't train me for 2 weeks and expect me to do great at your job. Like, you haven't done this all day, every day, meeting with your money, the ins and outs and all the pieces to the puzzle, so to speak. So yeah, you're not going to be like perfect at it. It's hard.
No, it takes time to be that practitioner. And don't expect to just hit the ground running and understand all of this. It does take time. And again, let's go through some things. What are we going to cover in this podcast, in this community?
Yep.
I'll start off. One of the things we hit in our webinar constantly is taxes.
It's a big one.
So, we like to do financial planning and start with a plan. And our plans usually start and center around taxes for most of our clients. So a good portion of what we're going to talk about and what a lot of people out there are concerned about is taxes and how to minimize them in retirement and how to be as efficient as possible so you can keep more in that retirement nest egg and less going to the federal government, where you and I personally maybe disagree on how they spend all of that money.
No. We disagree with them. We agree together that they're not very good with it. Yeah. I think taxes are big. When I talk about freedom kind of being under attack, I think back in the day, they didn't come after the colonies with the redcoats. They went after taxes first. And so I would just strongly urge each and every one of you, get your friends, get your family, start getting them plugged in, because taxes, they're only going one direction, and that's up. A word you said earlier, which I'm going to definitely play off it, is proactive. Like, we could all be more proactive in other areas of our life. We all know that that's healthy and better. But goodness gracious, when it comes to your money, inaction is like the biggest no-no of them all. He said that Darrin said his background's in teaching. He does a phenomenal job of illustrating his points. And I'm thinking of the ostrich with the head in the sand. And honestly, that's most people when it comes to their money. Paralyzed almost. Yeah,
you're paralyzed. Too much information, don't understand it, not in your wheelhouse. So you kind of just become paralyzed, stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away or hope it resolves itself. And you might be okay, but we're not good enough with okay. We want to get retirement right. We want to excel. And I think taxes is a huge topic for most of our listeners out there and most of the clients that we work with. Another topic that we hear quite often is Social Security. For a lot of people, the pensions are gone. Mm-hmm. They're very few and far between when we run into people with pensions. So Social Security is the backbone, really, of a lot of people's financial plans. So give our listeners an idea of what we're going to cover, some things about Social Security.
Well, it's interesting. Social Security has a lot of pieces to it. And what caught my ear or my attention about a couple of years ago was Yahoo came out, said 96% of Americans turn on Social Security at the wrong time. And I was like, whoa. And I would just think about it this way. Whose money is Social Security? Who worked for it? It's yours, right? And all this time and effort, 30, 40 years to get this money, and now there's tricks on how to claim it. So for us, we have a process. We want to make sure that each and every family claims Social Security at the right time. For most clients, it's 70, 80% of their retirement income on a monthly basis. And we've seen aunts widowed before the age of 60. We've seen numerous clients make some questionable decisions because they thought that was their only option. But it all goes back to what you talked about. Freedom First retirement plan. You have to have a plan in place to help you make these decisions. And Social Security taxes are two of the things I know that we can create a ton of value. The other thing, which I think is important to talk about, because January is this great month in the market. And I just listened to a podcast the other day, said, oh, if January is good, that means the rest of the year is going to be good. I said, oh my goodness gracious.
Guaranteed.
It's like, wait a minute, hold on. But we've already lost like half of our gains since January. It's like, okay, wait. And so all I would just quickly warn everybody is there's no plan that fits everybody. Cookie cutter does not work. I can't stand it. I'm anti-big bank. If you can't tell, I'll tell you every week. But what you and the team do, because Darrin's a fiduciary advisor. My background is in insurance. I've done that for over 20 years. What you and the team do is different. It's an active management style. And maybe just kind of give us a little taste of what that looks like.
Yeah, I guess it all started with we're anti just set it and forget it. Set it and forget it might work for some people out there if they have plenty of money and they're not taking a lot out of those accounts. But we believe in more a hands-on, right? 2 hands on the wheel, active approach. Definitely not day trading, but paying attention to what's going on with the economics, the macroeconomic setup, and what's coming down the pike. And, if it looks like we're in a period where there's going to be a high volatility and the economy is slowing down and inflation is out of control, maybe we should pump the brakes and preserve the winnings we just enjoyed and not give them all back. So we take a little more hands-on approach. We use a team of risk managers. We think they're the best in the industry. We get their data, and that helps us really get us a roadmap of where we should be going. And I always make that analogy to weather. It's not always sunny and 85 outside. There's going to be storms.
I wish it was. Yeah. We played a lot of golf in that weather.
That would be nice. But as it's 9 degrees outside.
9 degrees right now. We're freezing.
Yeah. But, you have to be willing to pivot and get out of the storm when it's coming. And when you see it coming, do something and don't just sit there and wear that.
Our number one client's baby boomer. Our average age of our clients are like 65, 67 right now. And you guys have had kids and grandkids, and Darrin and I have a bunch of little kids, and the first thing we always laugh about is, man, what works for Johnny might not work for Mark, and it sure might not work for Jocelyn. Like, each kid is different, right? So set it, forget it didn't work for parenting. It didn't work for any of your jobs, I can assure you of that. And sure the heck doesn't work for managing your money. But all too often, when I hear that 95% of Americans haven't planned for retirement, when you always like to say that more Americans plan for a vacation than they do how they're going to spend their money, that's a little scary. So the insecurity in America and that fear of money, we want to remove it as much as we can. We want to fill up with some confidence and some knowledge, which kind of go hand in hand. The more you know and can kind of understand how these things work, you're going to make better decisions.
Yeah, and just to dovetail off what you said about planning, we really feel strong, and this is why we believe in that active management approach with your investments, is your plan really should drive your investments, right? And everyone's plan is different. So why are we in these cookie cutter portfolios? Why are we, as an industry, telling our clients just to ride it out? That's the big bank kind of mentality, because they really don't have any answers.
Well, you got to remember that this industry has changed a ton in the last 20 years. Not only has the industry changed because now there's actually great information available to the consumer, but the way we manage money and do things has changed. Like the big bank, I think they literally finally pulled the commercial offline, but they talked about managing like trillions of dollars. Well, if you're managing trillions of dollars, you're not going to be able to pivot. Like, all hell starts breaking loose, and guess what? Turning that ship around is going to be tough. It's going to be exhausting. So what happens? The ship doesn't turn around most of the time. They don't change.
And those compliance departments are massive, and those poor advisors are they can't turn left or right.
They're handcuffed.
Yeah, they're really handcuffed. So we preach finding a fiduciary advisor. It's
definitely
so important, and the word fiduciary gets thrown around so loosely. It's almost become meaningless. But to us, fiduciary means, we better be acting in our client's best interest at all times, and removing those conflicts of interest. And, I think when you work with a financial professional, that's the bare minimum you should be looking. Find a good independent fiduciary advisor and help develop a plan.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right, it's like you don't take off on a trip to a place you've never known, on roads you've never driven, without some sort of GPS or map or something. But it's like, we do it in retirement all the time.
Yep.
I talked to John, and he selected this survivor benefit for him and his spouse, and I think we're going to do the same thing. And we were just talking to Stan, and one of our clients, and he was looking at, I don't want to do the lump sum pension. I'm going to choose this option. Boeing happens to, we get a lot of retirees from Boeing, so we get these questions all the time. And it's like, what's interesting is Stan and his wife have been clients for almost 3 years, and they referred us another family that they go to church with and that Stan works with. And you know what those families needed? Completely separate, different information. Like, I don't know if it matches up on any level, but yet their work background, their earnings, I mean, like, things were very, very similar. Mm-hmm. So if they would have went to the big bank on the corner, we already know what they would have done. They would have had the same plan.
Same plan, same investments, everything.
Yeah.
Different goals, different visions, different, cash flow needs, everything different. But here's our standard playbook. So, don't settle for that. That is a lazy way to do things. We feel today's clients deserve so much more, a lot more than just investment advice. And usually that investment advice what we see time and time again from the people we talk with is just set it and forget it. Ride out those massive crashes like 2022. You'll be fine. Don't worry. The market always bounces back. The Fed will have your back.
They'll print more money.
Print more money. Things will be okay. That doesn't really instill a lot of confidence.
I think you guys can tell where I say I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the current administration or the direction this country's headed. And people say, well, don't get political. Well, I'm not getting political. I'm just saying that we both have parents that are of retirement age. Your parents are currently retired. And goodness gracious, the decisions made for this country dramatically affect the big banks, which dramatically affect your money. And another thing we're going to talk a lot about, right? We're going to talk about volatility, how to get ahead of it. You can't run away from it. It's out there. You do have better options. We're going to talk about inflation because goodness gracious, I filled up my gas tank again today. And it was like, yes, I guess it's come down in price, but boy, it didn't feel like it.
So you're saying we're not at the 2% target inflation?
No,
right now?
I would argue that we're way above that.
Okay.
Well, considering new numbers did come out this morning, and the market didn't like it. Weird, huh? Market didn't like it.
The numbers went up instead of down. And, brought to you by the same people who, a year or two ago, the bottom was in and inflation is transitory. Now they're saying, that they're going to get this under control and we're going to have a soft landing. Well, talk about not instilling a lot of confidence that again, they were late to the party, in my opinion, and inflation went all the way up to 9.1% last summer. Now it's come down a little bit, but we're finding some resistance, getting really sticky at this point around 6%. That has a lot of stress on people's retirement plans and income needs when everything from gas to food to travel costs more and you have to start drawing more out of those accounts. Are you going to have enough to make it?
I had a conversation yesterday, and she's like 99.9% of all of our clients. Shon, I'm on a fixed income, meaning Social Security and her teacher pension. And she said to me, I'm going to have to start pulling out money just to get by. Mm-hmm. So I said to her, what are we thinking? $500, $600, $700 a month? She goes, no, Shon, we're talking an extra $1,500 a month. Now, this is significant because the retirees that we always talk with, for most part, you're on fixed incomes, right? Yes, Social Security got a nice little bump a couple months ago, but come on. Right. Most pensions aren't getting any bumps. You retired at 67, you get $2,500 a month. You've gotten the $2,500 a month for the last 5 years. It's not going up. And one of the things I love doing with my little kids is when we go through and grab a meal and we're in between sports, and you know what they start saying? Like, we talk about how much it costs because I want them to know. Yep. It matters. Like, this is a treat that we get to grab a cheeseburger. We're not adding the $5 milkshake. Sorry, you got a cheeseburger. Be thankful, right? The other day we went through, it was like $30-some. I really do believe that meal used to be like 20-ish or 18.
Well, have you noticed the dollar menu has either disappeared or there's like two things out there?
I'm telling you what, you remember this, right? You're in high school and you could get like 59-cent cheeseburgers. Yep. $5 at Taco Bell, you were stuffed.
Absolutely.
So, the reason we're doing this, right, is because these are all of your concerns, whether it's market volatility, whether it's that cookie cutter, oh my gosh, what's happening, taxes, inflation, Social Security. I can't tell you just the basic questions that are out there. We want you to have a place to come and ask and talk and really build some good camaraderie. I think that's important today. And there is no dumb question.
No. Some other topics we're going to hit on, healthcare, Medicare, what kind of issues are there that we see, as well as, we get this a lot from our clients. A lot of them are thinking about selling a house or paying off their house. Yep. What's the best strategy there? Do I pull money out of my IRA to pay off my mortgage so we can get rid of that bill? Those are great questions with some serious consequences if you do them wrong.
Well, and we always, we get the clients that come in or that we meet via Zoom all across this great country that made a mistake and then found out. Mm-hmm. And it's like, goodness gracious, our goal is to help you prevent that. And
a lot of those mistakes can't be undone.
No, you're right. A lot of those mistakes can't be undone. I will say this, though. In today's ever-changing market and the information that's out there, there is still enough time and place for most people to right the ship.
Absolutely.
Right? And so getting retirement right is an option, I think, for everybody. At least I'm going to wholeheartedly hope and pray that that's an option.
Absolutely. And, my parents are retired, and I've had some conversations recently around their retirement. And one of the things that came up kind of just organically was, we're done working, but man, retirement, you just can't set it and forget it. There's still a lot of work. They're constantly looking at their budget, figuring out ways to massage it with high inflation. They're paying attention to their accounts and what happened to Social Security. They're like, there's a lot to this retirement thing that we didn't originally go into it thinking about. We thought, wow, we'll just turn in that resignation letter and the rest takes care of itself.
Well, and we all know this, right? I mean, you and I've owned a few rental properties in our own homes, and it's like, goodness gracious, just things that need to be fixed around the house. We had clients that had a basement flooded a few weeks ago, and that's just like, life happens. It's not going to stop just because you retire. So we want you to be able to get the right answers. We want you to be able to have a lot of fun. That's our goal. We want this community to be fun. Podcast is going to be entertaining. We'll try to be funny. I don't know if we're naturally funny, but maybe if we're on video, we might be a little funnier. But we're excited about this. I mean, the other thing I was thinking about too, just last topic, I'll just mention it, RMDs, required minimum distributions. It just shocks me how much misinformation is out there about that. And we get it all the time. Like, we've actually seen people not take their RMDs at a big bank and no one told them.
Yeah, and a lot of that legislation has been changing.
It's changing
frequently.
Yes.
It just changed a couple of years ago and changed again just recently. Mm-hmm. And that's what this community is about. We're going to, when things do change, when new laws are passed or new regulations come in, we're going to talk about them on this community. So you're always in the know and you don't get blindsided or miss something very important. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, so we're excited. This is kind of just take one. This is just about Darrin and myself, Abraham and Company, and Darrin and I over this next year, we want to start writing a book. So we'll keep you up to date on all that. We wrote one book a couple of years ago. So I think we're going to have a lot of good information. We know that there are a lot of options out there, and I think our goal is to become the trusted resource that you can jump into, ask questions, and really be a part of something special.
Yeah, it's all about being interactive with you guys out there, and feel free to send in those questions. We're going to have a way to post those, and we'll do our best to answer them and really dive into them. So our community, we want it to grow. We want it really to create some synergy. Everyone's helping each other out, and there's some great resources that we're going to post for you to download and look at and think about. And the whole goal is, again, getting retirement right. You only do get to do it once.
You do. You only get to do it once, and that's pretty much a wrap. Episode 1, Getting Retirement Right. Shon, Peil, and
Darrin McComas.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Getting Retirement Right. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more resources, or if you have any specific financial questions, contact us at abrahamco.com. That's abrahamco.com. The Getting Retirement Right podcast and related materials are provided for general information and entertainment purposes only and do not constitute accounting, investing, legal, tax, or professional advice. Visitors should not act upon the content or information found here without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial advisor, lawyer, or other qualified professional.